The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the class. Let us begin the class with a beautiful quote. Kill the ego. If you have ego, kill it. And value the love that you get from your beloved ones, that is from your parents, from teachers, from your friends. Value the love. Then keep a smile always on your face, because a beautiful smile is a medicine for many problems. So always keep a smile on your face. Ignore the gossips, which means do not lend your ears to the negative comments of somebody else, that is gossip, isn't it? Then achieve your success. If you are a hard worker, definitely you can achieve your success. Then keep away always jealousy from you. If you are jealous, very difficult to achieve success in your life. So always keep a distance from jealousy. Then acquire knowledge and trust in the confidence. These are the beautiful words of our former President, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. You all know him very well, isn't it? So if you follow his words, definitely you will succeed in your life. Moreover, you will become a human being. See, we all are human beings, but being human is very difficult, isn't it? So he was a good human, or he was a human with humanity. Understood? So if we follow his words, definitely we can succeed in our life and also will become a good human being. Okay, so are you all ready? Okay, so let us begin the class. In the previous class, we discussed the interdependence between the organisms and how do the abiotic factors influence the existence of life on earth. Then we also discussed about the producers and consumers. Today we are moving on to the next topic which is about food chains and food web. Okay, so you all are very familiar with the term food chain, right? So what is a food chain? A food chain is a chain of animals that eat and being eaten. Understood? It's a chain of animals, they eat and being eaten by other animals. And in the nature, we can see many interrelationships or many interactions like the food chains, and the network of these interactions or the network of these food chains are known as food web. Okay, so behind me you can see a food web. So let us discuss the food chain and food web. Okay. So here you can see a network of food chains. Many food chains we can see in this food web. Okay. So one by one let us see. So these three are the producers. You know that a food chain always begins from the producer, that is green plants, isn't it? So here you can see the green plants like a mango tree, then paddy, grass. Okay. So the grasshopper, you can see here grasshopper that eats the paddy. So grasshopper which is being eaten by the frog, then snake is eaten by the eagle. This is a food chain, isn't it? And you can see another food chain which begins from the paddy itself. So paddy, grasshopper, then calotes, eagle. Then paddy, grasshopper, then calotes, then snake. Okay. Now you can see here mango tree, mango, then squirrel, then snake, and the snake is being eaten by the eagle. Then you can see here deer, it eats the grass, then it is eaten by the deer eats grass. So grass, deer, then tiger. Then you can see here rat, it eats the paddy. So paddy, then rat, then eagle, then paddy, rat, snake. Okay. So these are the different food chains we get from this food web, and you understood that the network of all these food chains known as the food web. Okay. So you can see here the same organisms becomes the part of different food chains, isn't it? So here the grasshopper which is involved in more than one food chains, isn't it? That is the here mango, grasshopper, then frog, snake, then paddy, grasshopper, calotes, then snake, then paddy. Okay. So it is involved in more than one food chain. In the same manner, okay, and you can see here rabbit also, grass, rabbit, eagle, then grass, rabbit, tiger. So many organisms involved in more than one food chain. So what is the benefit of that? The benefit of that is the number of any organism will not increase or decrease beyond a limit. If the number of a particular organism increases or decreases, that will disturb the balance of the food chain. So if an organism is involved in more than one food chain, the benefit is the number of any organism in that food chain will not increase or decrease beyond a limit. And we will discuss the questions, the indicators given below in this food web. Okay. Hope you have understood the difference between food chain and food web. And the next question is a single organism involved in more than one food chain. Hope you have understood that, isn't it? Then the next one is the possibility of an organism becoming food to more than one organism helpful to the existence of the food chain? Why? Okay. So the number of an organism increases. If a number of organism increases in the food chain, the organisms which forms the food of these particular organisms get destroyed, and later on what will happen? This particular organism will destroy due to starvation. I will explain this with the help of one food chain so that you will understand this clearly. For example, grass, deer, tiger. This is one example for food chain, isn't it? If the number of deer increases, what will happen? They will eat all the available grasses in that particular area, isn't it? So gradually what will happen? All the grasses will finish, isn't it? And these deer will die due to starvation. Understood now? Okay. So that will disturb the balance of that particular food chain, and gradually that will affect the food web also. Okay. Now the next question: how does the variation in the number of a particular organism in the food chain affect the existence of other organisms? So the variation in the number of an organism, the same thing just now we discussed. If the number of an organism decreases in a food chain, that will adversely affect the another group of organisms which depend these organisms for their food. For example, the same food chain, the number of deer decreases. What will happen? The tigers will not get sufficient food. So that will affect the existence of the tiger as well as the deer. So gradually that will affect the entire food web, isn't it? So the increase or decrease of any organism in a food chain will adversely affect the balance of that food web. Understood? So എല്ലാം ഒരു ബാലൻസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ട് പോകണം. എല്ലാ ഓർഗാനിസംസിൻ്റെയും നമ്പർ കൂടുകയോ കുറയുകയോ ചെയ്യാതെ എപ്പോഴും ബാലൻസ്ഡ് ആയിട്ട് പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ that food web will be a strong food web. Understood all of you? Okay. So shall I move on to the next topic? So the next topic is about the trophic levels. So you understood about the food chains, isn't it? So the trophic level is the position of an organism in the food chain. See, each organism has its own position in a food chain, isn't it? So the position of an organism in a food chain is known as trophic levels. Okay. So there are different trophic levels in a food chain. As the green plants, they are the producers, they always will come under the first trophic level. Okay. Then the herbivores, they are the primary consumers. They directly depend upon plants for their food. So they will come under the second trophic level. And the carnivores, they eat the herbivores. So and these carnivores are the secondary consumers. They will come under the third trophic level. And the predators, the big carnivorous animals, they eat the carnivores. So they will come under the fourth trophic levels. Clear? So I'll explain this with the help of an illustration. Okay. So this is the illustration. So hope you have understood about the trophic levels. So there are different trophic levels in a food chain, and the trophic level is a position of an organism in a food chain. Okay. So just now we discussed the food web, and many food chains are there in that food web. Based on that only this illustration. Okay. So when you listen to this video or when you watch the video, keep the textbook with you. Okay. So now this is the first trophic level. So I told you always the green plants, the producers will come under the first trophic level. So paddy, grass, then mango tree was also there in that is also a producer, isn't it? So they will be coming under the first trophic level. Then the second trophic level, the primary consumers, that is herbivores. So which are the herbivores present in the food chains? Grasshopper, then rabbit, squirrel, isn't it? These were the herbivores in that food chain. So they are the primary consumers. So they will come under the second trophic level. Now the third trophic level includes secondary consumers, that is carnivores. Which are the carnivores present in that? Frog, snake, calotis, isn't it? These are the carnivorous animals present in that food chains. Then the fourth trophic level, the tertiary consumers, those who feed on carnivores, that is the predators, eagle, tiger. So these are the predators present, we could see in that food chains, isn't it? So they will come under the fourth trophic levels. Okay, so their position is last in the food chains. So first producers, then primary consumers, then secondary consumers, and last the tertiary consumer, that is the big carnivorous animals or the predators. So did you all understand? Okay. Now let us discuss the questions. Okay. So the first question is, does the same organism occupy more than one trophic level? Yes, isn't it? According to the complexity of the food web or food chain, the same organism may occupy more than one level. Okay, we can see that. Then is there any possibility of a fifth trophic level? Yes, there is a possibility, because the number of trophic levels in a food chain is not constant. That also, according to the complexity of the food web and length of the food chain, the number of trophic levels also may change or vary. It is not constant. So definitely there is a possibility of fifth trophic level. Then next question, how does the elimination of organisms from the higher trophic levels affect the ecosystem? So the elimination of organisms in the higher trophic levels, which means the predators and the carnivorous animals, if they are eliminated from the food chains, what will happen? Definitely the organisms in the lower levels, lower trophic levels, their number will increase enormously, and finally they will die due to starvation, isn't it? So I told you, the increase or decrease of any organism in a food chain will adversely affect the existence of the food chain as well as the food web. Okay. Now let us examine the food chains which are taken from the illustration about that food web. Okay. So first food chain is grass, rabbit, eagle. Then second food chain, grass, grasshopper, calotes, eagle. Then third one, grass, grasshopper, frog, snake and eagle. Okay. So what we have to do is, we have to find out the trophic levels represented by the eagle in each food chain. We have to find out the trophic levels represented by the eagle in each food chain. So let us see. In the first food chain, grass, rabbit, eagle. So the position of eagle is third, which means it is involved in the third trophic level, isn't it? And the second food chain, grass, grasshopper, calotes, eagle. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the position of eagle is fourth, which means it is involved in the fourth trophic level. Then what about the third food chain? Grass, grasshopper, frog, snake, eagle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here the eagle is involved in fifth trophic level. So I told you, the number of trophic levels in a food chain is not constant. It may change according to the complexity and the length of the food chain. Okay. So in this food chain, the eagle is involved in third, fourth and fifth trophic levels. So I told you already, according to the complexity of the food chain, the same organisms may involve in, according to the complexity of the food web, the same organisms may involve in different trophic levels. Hope you have understood that. The position of an organism and the number of trophic levels in a food chain, it is not constant. It changes according to the complexity and the number of and the length of the food chain. Okay. Hope you all have understood the concepts we discussed now. Okay. So shall I move on to the next topic? very interesting topic. So now we are going to discuss the ecological interaction. See, there is interdependence between organisms in the environment, isn't it? So the ecological interactions means it is very particular. If we observe the nature, we can see these interactions, these ecological interactions. So here we will be discussing 5 types of ecological interactions, okay, and they are predation, then competition, parasitism, mutualism and commensalism. So let us study this one by one. Okay, so predation, parasitism, competition, mutualism and commensalism. Okay, so here you can see the flower and the butterfly. This you have seen, isn't it? For sucking the nectar, the butterflies always approach the flower. They will stick on the flowers, isn't it? Or they will sit on the flowers for sucking the nectar. So that is an ecological interaction, isn't it? And mango tree and vanda. Have you seen this? Mango tree and vanda. In the mango trees, you can see the vanda. Vanda means മരവാഴ എന്ന് പറയും. ഒരു സ്ക്വയർ ഷേപ്പിൽ ലീഫായിട്ട് ഈ മാവിൽ അതിങ്ങനെ തൂങ്ങി കിടക്കുന്നുണ്ടാവും താഴത്തേക്ക് ഇങ്ങനെ ഇലകൾ. അതാണ് വാൻഡ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, ദെൻ പാഡി ആൻഡ് വീഡ്സ്, കളകൾ, നെൽച്ചെടികളുടെ കൂടെ കളകളും വളരും. ഓക്കെ, ദെൻ മാംഗോ ട്രീ ആൻഡ് ലൊറാന്തസ്, ഇത്തിക്കണ്ണി, ദറ്റ് ഇസ് ലൊറാന്തസ്. ദെൻ ഡിയർ ആൻഡ് tiger. Okay, so these are the examples for the 5 types of ecological interactions now we are going to discuss. So one by one we will discuss. So first we are going to discuss the predation. Okay, so predation is the ecological or the interaction between the predator and the prey. So predator is the large carnivorous animals in the forest and the prey are the herbivores, the herbivores as well as the small carnivorous animals. Okay, so we can see many examples. So predation is the interaction between predator and prey. In predation, one partner is getting benefited and the other partner is getting destroyed, isn't it? The predators like large carnivorous animals will eat the herbivores and the small carnivorous animals. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next ecological interaction and that is parasitism. In parasitism also one of the partner is getting benefited and the other partner is getting destroyed. For example, mango tree and loranthus. So in this case the loranthus depend upon mango tree for nutrition. So it will absorb all the nutrients from the mango tree for its growth. So gradually the mango tree will be getting destroyed. Okay, then the third one is competition. And and the example for competition is paddy and weeds. Okay, so in this interaction it will be harmful for both the partners in the beginning and later on the one who wins is getting survived and that will get the benefit out of this interaction. That is in the paddy field we can see the paddy and weeds, both of them are growing, isn't it? So there will be a competition between these two for food, water, sunlight, space, etc. So if the paddy wins in this competition we get good yield and if the weeds wins, what will happen? The paddy will be getting destroyed. Understood? And the next one is, next ecological interaction is mutualism and example is butterfly and flower. So you would have seen the butterflies always sit on the flowers for sucking the nectar and in return the butterfly will help the flower for its pollination. So in this kind of ecological interaction both the partners are getting benefited, both butterfly and flower are getting benefited. Okay, and the last one is commensalism. So in commensalism one of the partner is getting benefited and the other partner is neither benefited nor harmed. For example, mango tree and vanda. Okay, so vanda is a type of plant which depends the host plant, that is the mango tree, only for its shelter, and it prepares its own food. It never absorbs nutrients from the mango tree. So the vanda is getting benefited and here the mango tree is neither benefited nor harmed. Okay, so these are the important ecological interactions we are discussing in this chapter, and like this there are many ecological interactions are present in the environment, and these ecological interactions make the ecosystem strong. Okay, so hope you all have understood the concepts we have discussed today. If you have any doubt, you can contact me and Amala teacher. Definitely we will be clarifying your doubts. So see you in the next class. Until then, this is your Maya teacher signing off.